Hey, Dave.
Hey, Chris.
Welcome back. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
I still have on the same shirt as I did last episode.
Yeah, you do.
So I watched you change shirts. I thought about it, and I was like, didn't make it. So maybe
while the intro's playing.
Maybe I'll do this in the intro, and then for the actual episode, I'll change real quick. So, yeah.
I was going through some boxes of clothes.
Hmm.
I have a habit of not throwing things away,
No.
which is
We had no idea.
very typical of the generations before us. There's a lot of Xers that don't throw stuff away,
I think
though.
I think we've got our fair share. I don't know.
You are not one of those people, though.
I was going to say, I don't think I'm one of those people.
No, you throw stuff away.
Yeah,
But
I do.
I was going through some boxes of clothes, and I found 3 or 4 short sleeve Quicksilver shirts.
Nice.
And then I think I found 7 total, and it's like 3 short sleeve, 4 long sleeve, or the other way around. But I found 7 more Quicksilver shirts because I was going, I wore a different one in each episode for a long time, and I was like, I think I'm out, but I shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So this was my favorite one. Southeast Asian Expedition. I don't know what that...
Yeah, it's just good quality stuff.
Yeah. And this is
I
like
like it.
legit from back in the day.
I would have, for those that don't know, I had a very small and short-lived dream of becoming a professional surfer. Probably lasted about 3 months. I dreamed of being sponsored by Quicksilver, which would have been awesome.
Yeah.
But
I got a Quicksilver tattoo.
you do. I mean, we were all in for a little bit there.
Yeah, we were.
Just going to travel around the world, play volleyball, surf,
But having grown up in Nashville, Tennessee, not very conducive to the surfing
Practicing
career
was a little
lifestyle.
hard, yeah.
Practicing was very difficult.
I mean, we tried a couple times together. That's a story that'll come up at some point.
Is that with the bungee cords?
The what?
Where we suspended the surfboard by bungee cords?
I was talking about like the SCAR event.
Oh, that.
But it's not going to be the story today. Today,
No.
we don't really have a topic to start the day off
No, we
with.
have an idea that this might lean into a topic.
Yeah.
But
We're just going to talk about Gen X stuff today.
Yeah.
A couple recent events that probably have us all thinking a little bit about, life in general. I don't know. That's my take on it.
Yeah, there were. By the time this episode airs, it won't be like super. It didn't happen yesterday, but in the past, I guess, couple of months, we've lost 3 people who were very influential to our generation. Yeah. 2 of them were not of our generation.
But definitely an influence on
definitely
our
an
generation.
influence.
I mean,
and the thing is, nobody's perfect. People say things, do things, whatever. So regardless of your thoughts about, oh, he did this, he said that, whatever, that doesn't change the fact that growing up in the 80s as a teenager in the 80s, these 3 people had a huge impact on you.
Yeah.
So
and there's so much stuff that growing up we didn't know about people. I mean,
right.
You can list the names of people that in the 70s and 80s were just revered as like icons and heroes.
Right. You didn't have social media to know all about them all the time.
And
so
then recent decades you find out that someone's just an awful person.
Right.
But, and I've juggled that, right, of like how do you balance that out between something that was really positive growing up versus the reality of someone. And I think what you have to really look at is a lot of the people that we may talk about today are they portrayed fictional characters.
Yeah, and they're entertainers.
And so
their job was to entertain.
it's the entertainment piece of their life
Yeah.
that was the influence, I think, on us. But
Yeah.
but that's a lot of coding, I think, that we're giving people. So
Well, we had Malcolm Jamal Warner.
Mhm.
We had Ozzy Osbourne
and
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and I would say all three pretty prominent.
Yeah, I mean,
Impact
Malcolm
and-
Jamal Warner on the Cosby Show.
Yeah.
You kind of
Yeah, I
you
mean
just
that
watched
was
him
that
every
was
Thursday.
that was the show to watch during that period of time. I mean, it was funny. It was, you got life lessons, and
Yeah.
it was Bill Cosby. I mean,
Right.
he was the guy that I think a lot of us grew up. He was on PBS. He had different cartoons and shows and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And then Hulk Hogan, WrestleMania. I mean, the 80s for
And
wrestling.
Hulkamania.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at any of that stuff now, and there's a lot of stuff that should not have happened, should not have been said, should not have been done. I mean, you just look at all the different, villains and heroes out of wrestling, and what you hear people chant and who they're raging against and stuff like that. And it's like, oh my gosh,
Right.
man, it's like chill out,
Right.
dude.
But different times.
And then
Good, bad, or
Yeah.
indifferent is
No,
different
yeah.
times.
And then Ozzy for the huge change, I think, and what maybe a lot of our younger listeners may see him from, like the Osbourne, the TV show and stuff like that. That was a much different version of Ozzy
That was
Osbourne
a whole different Ozzy
than what you saw
we got.
back in the 80s, man. I mean,
Biting off bat heads and
dude, I've watched some of the interviews, and you're talking about just a dude who's just stoned out of his mind
yeah.
on national TV or in an interview. It's like, oh my gosh, they let this go on TV.
Right.
And
But the fact that he can put together a whole concert and like remember the words and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
it's like
I mean, yeah, part of again, I'm not going to judge anybody's lifestyle or anything like that, but it's like, whew, influential, yes. Always for the right things, definitely not.
right. I mean, the music aspect
Yeah.
from Ozzy, like
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't.
Oh, it's intertwined throughout like our
Right.
lives. So.
Yeah.
But it's crazy. But are we in the intro?
Yeah.
Still? Okay. All right. Well,
So
we should dive into this.
We should,
because that's
yeah.
good conversation, I think.
we think we kind of know where this is going. We said let's talk about this, and we'll maybe come up with a topic. So I think that we maybe have a direction for this. But stick around. We'll hit the intro, and we'll talk about it during that, and we'll.
Welcome to Rated Gen X.
Yeah, welcome to Rated Gen X. I forgot what I was going to say. All right.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, Chris.
Ooh, that was a little loud. Sorry about that.
It's all right.
So we got off to a good start in our intro there.
And Chris decided not to change shirts.
I did decide not to change shirts because I really like my Rated Gen X
You should get one.
T-shirt. That is, I don't think it's showing up because there you go. There's a logo.
It's that.
Yeah, it's that. We do have some of those left. They are $20 US dollars.
Because that's what they cost us.
And we'll be happy to get one of those shipped out to you if you like. Limited sizes, but contact us. Dave will check that email, and then we will get that
Yeah, I don't know if you
out
caught
to
that.
you.
He didn't say we will check that email. He said Dave would check
But feel
that
free
email.
to reach out to us.
Yeah.
Speaking of people who still have not reached out to us, it's been a couple of episodes.
It has been.
since we've talked about Ice-T.
Ice-T has still not asked to be on,
And
he doesn't
nor-
even have to ask to be on the show.
No, he just needs to tell us
because
the date.
obviously he's way cooler than us.
Yeah.
So all he would have to say is,
Book me.
book me this day.
Yeah.
It's not like, hey, I'll come on your show if you want. Like, no, you just,
dude, bro, you're worth a vacation day, hands down.
Oh, yeah.
I will take a
I
day.
got lots of sick days.
We'll take a day and we'll be right here. And yeah, Jessica,
And baby Jessica.
if you're out there, we have not forgotten about you either.
Nope.
So I just wanted to make sure we kind of brought that back in because
Yeah.
it's been a few episodes, and
It
if you have
has.
no idea what I'm talking about, then are you a true fan? Because
Right.
you need to go back and do some listening.
Watch the Timeline series.
That
Oh.
is where it started.
I was going to tell you this earlier, but I said, no, I'm going to tell him on camera so his reaction can be genuine.
Okay.
So we were at the fair,
Yeah.
and you said your sister was at the fair. We saw your sister. We talked to her for
Oh, cool.
like 15 minutes or
Yeah?
whatever. Yeah. And she was like, I don't know when the last time I saw my brother was. I said, well, he's going to your mom's.
She's
So,
is this my younger sister? My youngest?
young guest.
Okay, I did see her today at my mom's.
Okay. I
Um,
told her you were going to be there. So there you go.
Fine.
And she said, I watched the first episode, and then it's just I've been busy. I'm like,
Yeah. But
Dude.
you know, she is a millennial. So
I understand.
it's she can pass on it. It's fine. It's not for her anyway.
Yeah, but there's
Although-
some stuff about her.
That is true. But yeah, I mean, so we started the intro talking about some losses that our generation had here recently. I mean, it's been a tough month.
A couple of months.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Malcolm Jamal Warner. I mean, he's only a couple years older than us. I mean,
Right.
he is Gen X. He's
Right.
us. That was sad to hear. I don't know all the details, but I believe I heard that he had drowned and he was on a family vacation. I will take that moment to plug water safety. Seriously.
As
Some of you don't
former
know,
Coast Guard.
but I do here locally with a Coast Guard related organization. Still teach safe boating classes for that state of Tennessee exam, and it is. I mean, it means a lot to me to be able to like put that message out to people. But water safety. I know we mentioned we were talking a little bit in the opening of some surfing dreams that I had for a very brief period of time. But it is. I mean, you know, we all go on vacation every year. We run to the ocean, and a lot of times we just don't think about
or a pool or a boat on a lake
or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
river. You know, any of it. I mean, it could be right down the street here. It could be, you know, down in the islands. But
You could be walking through Mill Creek.
man, pay attention. Yeah. No, seriously. You know,
That's from
it's,
last episode.
it's unfortunately a lot of it. Sometimes it comes down to just awareness of the wildlife, of the currents, the depth of water. It's so sad. I mean, it breaks my heart anytime I hear of someone just kind of out on the water for a fun day and it ends in something like that.
Yeah.
But that, yeah, definitely someone I think that really kind of. I mean, we all kind of grew up with watching him on the Cosby Show, and
And you watched him get older on the Cosby Show.
Yeah, and then you see him pop up in like other things as a true middle-aged adult. And you're like, oh, like that's awesome. I'm glad he's still
Yeah.
I'm glad he's still working. I feel the same way about Jason Bateman. Because Little House on the Prairie, Silver Spoons.
Yeah.
I think he's 52, 53, so he's pretty much our age. And that is I do listen to his podcast with his buddies. But it's I like kind of seeing the our age group kind of up and going.
Well, because there's so many, quote, child stars that just fall apart
Yeah.
and don't
And
go anywhere.
And I mean, he's very forthcoming about his story. He did fall apart, and then
Yeah.
was able to kind of turn things
I
around.
feel
a
like that
different
happens
way.
a lot.
And to be honest, we probably at some point, all of us have some sort of what I would classify as falling apart.
I would agree.
Yeah, and if we're lucky, maybe it only happens once. But I feel like I'm on like number 3, because we all got stuff going
Yeah.
on. But
2 or 3.
yeah, I mean, it's heavy stuff. And then when we start losing people that have been these influences, and we were talking a little bit about that in the intro too. Ozzy and Hulk Hogan were boomers, but definitely their presence, I think, was really felt in our generation.
Yeah.
And I think that
Well, these people that were just larger than life, and you
Yeah.
think like, and then you realize that they're not.
right.
I mean,
there's
you,
people.
you know that they're not,
Yeah.
but then you see, when one of them passes away, it brings it to the forefront of, you can be this
Mm.
whoever, whatever, whether it's a persona or who you actually are. You are still mortal like the rest of us,
Absolutely.
and it just kind of makes you go, huh, wow,
Yeah.
didn't see that coming.
It's a lot of I don't know, especially the last 4 or 5 years, I think, as we start to see not that we haven't had loss throughout, really every decade
Any
with
year,
people.
yeah.
When we were younger, River Phoenix, drug overdose and things like that. Chris Farley. We had those types of things. But now, now we're getting to the point where we're starting to see that it's really just, age. And we talked a little bit about like
Maybe lifestyle.
I was gonna say you get the Hulk Hogan and Ozzy. There was obviously two very different lifestyles there, and we're not going to get into the whole debate of like what's right and what's wrong, but they were both influential. I feel like as a reasonable person, they were influential in a way where I didn't want to go out and emulate either one of them to that extent.
Right.
I didn't want to be huge like Hulk Hogan. I didn't want to bite the head of bats off like Ozzy.
Right.
But, Ozzy's music is definitely wrapped up in our generation.
Right. And I can't say that, I haven't, tried to impersonate the voice of Hulk Hogan,
Oh, yeah.
just when I'm doing something.
Well, the voice, but the message that was put out from the entertainment side, especially in the 80s, was, take your vitamins, say your prayers. I mean, he was a good guy, right? That's what he was portrayed, on the entertainment side. And as what I would classify as just a typical 80s kid, that's what I latched onto. It was like, Hulk Hogan is he's doing the right stuff and he's telling me to do the right stuff. And, yes, behind the scenes, man, there's probably a lot of juice going on there.
Who knows?
But it was natural.
Naturally from the lab.
Yeah. So I don't know, but and you brought up a really good, I think, line of thought too. That maybe this is a little deeper than where our normal conversations go.
Most of our conversations are meant to be, funny, lighthearted.
Yeah.
Remember this. This one may be just a little bit, I guess, more on the serious side.
Yeah. Well, I think. And it coincides with, seeing influencers from our time,
some of
start
these
to
icons
pass
die.
away, and you start to realize, my parents are that age, and I've lost my dad
Right, your
already.
dad passed away a few years ago,
and my
so.
grandfather, who, people say that, and they're like, well, your grandfather just passed a few years ago. It's like, yeah, I do recognize how fortunate I was to be, in my late 40s when my grandfather
Yeah,
passed
but I mean,
away.
your grandfather was like, he was in better shape than a lot of parents.
Yeah, but very similar. He had some different lifestyle choices when he was younger. That as he aged, he kind of grew out of or changed. It just I've seen bits and pieces of it, but and it is if you look up any of the our generation issues or concerns, usually at the top of that list is taking care of our parents, elder parent care. So it does. It really does start to make you think that is and could for some of us out there has already happened. Some of us are headed down that path, and some of us are right in the middle of it. And so. I mean, I don't.
And that's hit, my extended family quite a bit here lately. So this one, is kind of more, and I've mentioned this several times before, even in the last episode. I teach economics and personal finance, both required courses for graduation here in Tennessee. And the personal finance course that I teach has been through Dave Ramsey's organization. So, whatever you think about Dave Ramsey, that's not the point. Statistically, as Chris was saying, he mentions in one of the videos that the kids watch, is that the biggest financial obstacle facing the next generation, and he's a boomer, he was born in 60, so facing the next generation, that's us, Xers, is not how to send your kids to college. There's so many programs and scholarships and funding for that. If you look in the right places, get in early, that kind of stuff. So it's not sending your kids to college, it's how to take care of your aging parents. So, and when I first started teaching that class back in 2011, I was just like, oh, okay, yeah. But as the years have gone by, like my sister-in-law, for example, a couple years ago lost her father, and then by the time this airs, a couple of months ago, it's more recent as we sit here, but by the time this airs, a couple months ago, lost her mother. So, and her parents were divorced, so that's two separate estates that they have had to
go through. Wow.
Go through. Her mother, that one was expected. Her mother had been battling different kinds of cancer, has had multiple kinds of cancer since like 98 or 99. Okay, so just a very long battle, all for all that time. Father, very unexpected. Walking out to his car after a shower, had a towel on, heart attack in the driveway of his house. So that was very unexpected. So, they had to go through all this stuff and everything. And so my brother has been doing that, my sister-in-law and her sister. And so it's been a lot for them.
Yeah.
And they just get that wrapped up, and then their mother passes away. So now they have to go through all of her stuff.
And what was the spacing between the two?
About 2.5 years.
Okay. I had
but it took them that long to go get their father's place, like all the stuff gone through
done.
And get everything done and all the legalities, and finally get it where it was presentable to list, and present, but where you don't want to sell a house that's full of stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I had a friend I learned kind of just a couple of days ago. A little different situation, but I think probably emotionally very similar. But she lost mother and father right at 30 days apart. And both were battling some health issues, so it wasn't like completely, out of the blue or anything. But you see things like that, and it's like, is one kind of waiting on the other, and then they know, okay, now I'm good. So stuff like that still just, I think.
Well, and my dad's been in and out of the hospital, 2 or 3 times in the last month and a half.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and it's just, it's so unpredictable, what it's going to look like. It's also our parents and their generation and our generation, I think, too, look at things like everything from assisted living to retirement homes so differently, right? I mean, and even hospitals. I look back at parents, grandparents, and that age. There's not a lot of trust with, the medical field. They don't like hospitals. They don't, that's where people go to pass away. That's kind of the mentality they have. And then if you even speak of any type of, assisted living or something like that, they totally.
Your grandmother's assisted living is with your mom.
Yeah. I've told all my kids, I'm like, dude, sign me up. Just find me a nice one. I may sign up myself. I mean, 55, you can get in. I'm counting down. So
I got 2 years.
I may already.
I can
be there.
retire in 2 years,
Um,
and I am going to most
I
likely.
mean, I could retire in 2 years, but it probably wouldn't be a good thing. I got a few more years to go. But yeah, I mean, I that's, I know we're a tiny generation,
Numbers wise, yeah.
numbers wise, yes, and I think we Gen X, from what I recall, and back right around the turn of 2000, when all the generational talk became like the buzz, right? Like,
Right.
a lot of the company I was working for at the time put on a whole production of talk about the generations in the workforce and how they can get along and everything. And so I do remember that what was the largest generation in history, which was the baby boomers,
Right.
created the smallest generation in world history, which is Gen X. So I mean, we're super tiny by the numbers. And then the millennials that came after us is larger than the baby boomers as far as numbers.
Are they really?
Yeah,
I did not know
that's Chris's scientific approach. Again, I encourage you to check
Can you
all the
corroborate
facts.
that?
I probably could. So I mean, now you give me an assignment. Now I'm like, where was I going with that?
See, that's your own question.
But
See, this is how he used to do me, and I would have to look it up after the fact. But now, he can look it
I
up.
can get us some. Millennials are currently the largest living generation, followed closely by Gen Z. So I mean, we're not even in the top 2 anymore. We're
That's all right.
boomers are still a significant population group, so they're not even talking about us.
Which is what we're used to.
Yeah,
We have often been referred to as the forgotten generation.
forgotten. I've seen the sandwich generation because we're in between our children and our parents as
Yeah.
far as caretaking.
Yep. Latchkey kids.
Latchkey. Were you ever a latchkey? I don't really ever feel like
I'm not
that
going to lie.
was.
I don't know what that means.
So that basically means you had a key when you got home from school to let yourself in.
Oh, yeah, I had that.
Okay.
Yeah, because we could, when my brother and I got home from school, we got home because my mom was a teacher.
Yeah.
And my dad, had different jobs until he started teaching. They weren't home.
Okay.
So we would go home and we couldn't leave the yard until they got home.
Okay.
So we
I
couldn't
think
go
you were-
outside till we had our homework
So
done.
then you were a true latchkey kid.
All right.
I think when I got home, like my mom, because she worked for the school system, she kind of always, I feel like she always kind of made it home before I got home. I don't recall coming
Well, right
home
about the, not
Yeah.
too long after.
It was because when I was in school, she was always working as a crossing guard at the school where my youngest sister was going. So
Okay.
she was at elementary. So there may have been a period of time where it's like an hour.
Yeah.
But
45
for the
minutes.
most part, I recall my mom being home.
I remember having a house key.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember having.
I just remember those kids that had just the one key, and I was like, I don't want to be that kid. So
You're so uncool.
right, one key. What's that for? So I had a skeleton key,
All right.
a true working skeleton key that was from my great grandmother's house
All right.
that she no longer lived in because I think my great grandmother passed away in 84, 85. But I had a skeleton key, I think that my mom had that she gave to me. And so I had that on there just so I
you
could
had
have
2 keys.
So I had 2 keys.
All right. You were definitely cool.
I was way cooler. And when I was athletic director, I can't tell you the number of keys. I had a separate key ring for all school keys because it was stupid. I'm sure my posture is not thanking me for those keys that I had to carry around. You'd think, just get a master. Oh, well, there's 4 different key patterns. And so
Yeah.
there's not a master.
Just carry the keys.
Yeah.
They make so many cool things for them too. You
You
got the
remember
ones
Coach
that are
Coffey's
attached.
keys?
No,
He had a key ring that was like this big, and it was
they're like a jailer.
Yeah.
Of some sort. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I do remember that. Seeing it once or twice.
So it wasn't that bad,
It's
but
like just the jingling.
right.
jingling.
But I probably, without exaggerating, I probably had about 10 or 12 different keys that I just got to know what the key number, I remember numbers,
Yeah.
what the key number was to all these things.
I mean, working hotels, yeah, I'd have a lot of keys. Because you'd have key. You'd need a hard key. Then you got the card keys.
Yeah.
Sometimes things were restricted differently. So yeah, it could add up. But now I just have different sets of keys. Like I've got my daily set, which is basically just 2 keys, car key and a house key, and then you got camp keys. So yeah, I just spread them out differently. But so that's a lot of kind of coming back to what we were talking about.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're
though.
getting off topic.
It is a lot. It's a lot of pressure, I think, that puts 40 to 55-year-olds in with that, because what we believe may not necessarily be what our parents believe when it comes to how to caretake. I know a lot of people are like, oh, I want to die in my home. I don't know. I think I'm always at the.
I've always said that.
Yeah.
And as I get older, I'm going, because one of my kids may live here
Yeah.
at some point. So, do I want them to go? Oh, Dad died over there. I don't know that I necessarily want that.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't personally bother me. But yeah, I don't know. I'm probably pretty aware of I want to know how other people feel about it. And I think like most people, you really don't want to go through a long illness or anything like that.
Right.
I think the surprise method might be a little more favored, but that's kind of a weird conversation to have. But
See, I don't even want to go down that road.
yeah,
I don't
no.
know. So what the purpose of this whole episode, I think, from what
Tell
we
me.
talked about, you're still struggling with it, is, we're not licensed or necessarily knowledgeable about any of this kind of stuff, but what we're starting to see is we need to figure out, we as a generation need to figure out what the best way to go about, planning, prepping, whatever, for that time, if it hasn't happened already, that your parents do pass away.
Yeah, because if you don't talk about it, and I guess that's the key.
That's
thing
the
I
thing.
would say is you got to talk about
right.
it.
You have to talk. You have to talk about it with your parents. Okay, and you have to talk about it with somebody that knows something about it, not somebody that's trying to make a sale. Okay, I do know this. When you're looking for people to talk to or to have money conversations with, whether that be investment people, whether that be estate planners, whether that be attorneys, whatever, find someone, and this is not coming from me, this is coming from people a lot smarter than me, find someone who is, kind of has the heart of an educator. Because so many people out there have the heart and the soul and the temperament of a salesperson. They know that if they can, scare you into this, they can charge you for these services, if and when they happen, and they'll make some money off of you. Find somebody that just has and they're not super difficult to find, but they're not just going to be the first person that you pick
You
up
definitely
the
got
phone.
to do your research.
Yeah.
Whether that's on the financial side, whether it's on the health side. I think that's the key, right? Like, I don't think either one of us are experts. I know, we're each experiencing things just like everybody out there is, year by year, whether it's, with our children or with our parents or just, with friends that are going through different stuff. I think the key thing, you got to talk to somebody, unfortunately, we probably all know a handful of people that just didn't feel like they had anybody, and you lose those people, and they never knew that they've got all these people and resources around them. You just got to ask.
Right.
You just got to get in and check it out.
Yeah, when you start having these kinds of conversations, you'll find that people, they may not want to talk,
Yeah.
Just in general, like, shoot the breeze with you. But when you start having these, more serious, heavy conversations, you'll find that, that people are most of the time, more willing to talk because you're trying to prepare for something that's inevitable.
Yeah.
And you want to try to do it in the best way possible so that everybody's not blindsided. You're not having to go through the legal system to do all this kind of stuff. There are ways to prepare for these events where, it's all, my parents went so far as to, they did the funeral planning and all that kind of stuff. And they didn't just do the planning, like they paid for it.
Yeah. A lot of, especially, I would say a lot of boomers.
Right.
That's been a trend and a thing that they
Right.
have
Now, I
done.
wouldn't recommend doing that, in your 40s or 50s, because you pay for that now. You start looking at, adjusted for inflation, and what if I invested it?
Yeah.
That could be
Things
very
change, man.
right. But my parents did this, a few years ago, and they paid for all of it. So the only thing that we have to worry about is the funeral home trying to upsell us, which I don't know that they will, but they might. So I'm perfectly fine to go, this is what they picked.
There's some.
This is what they wanted. This is what we're doing.
What are the options? it's so strange, and I know generationally, like our go-to is humor.
Right.
For
dark
just about
humor,
anything,
because
and
that's
it's just
how we
like-
deal with stuff.
But I mean,
But I'm as serious as I can be. Like, I do not need anything fancy.
you don't need a chromed out.
I'm done.
casket.
Nope. It doesn't need to be chromed or, plush lined or anything like that. Like, just, I don't care. I'm not there.
Yeah, it's just. Well, yeah. My thoughts on all that have changed over the last decade or two. Like I don't want the traditional.
You realize that one of us is going to have to go to the other one's funeral,
I mean, unless we're both doing something stupid at the same time
which could happen.
together.
We've done that before. That's fair.
But
In all
I
likelihood.
see what you're saying. In all likelihood,
Well, I had that conversation with my brothers. I said, "Do you realize one of us is going to have to go to the other two's funerals?"
yeah. No, it's true.
And as gosh, I don't want to talk about that. That's life, and
Oh, yeah.
especially for us Xers, as we get older, parents are getting older. Some of us have. I mean, I don't, but some of us have siblings that are boomers.
Mm-hmm.
So, siblings, these are conversations that you need to have because I'm going to, once my brother and sister-in-law get through, the
Yeah.
passing of her mom and through all that, I don't know that they'll necessarily be experts, but they will have a whole lot more firsthand knowledge than I do.
Right.
And so they will be a good resource like, hey, is there something that would have made this easier?
Mm-hmm. Because it can get complicated.
It
really,
can.
really fast.
And I'm going to go out on a limb just because I know how I operate and how people that I've interact with operate. People that have gone through that situation most likely would be willing to talk to you about it, especially if they're Xers, because our generation is very much, I don't want to burden somebody with this.
yeah.
Right? So
But if you ask me about it,
But if you
now
ask
it's
me
no
about
longer
it,
a burden.
if you ask me about it and I know that I can give you some information where it won't burden you when it happens to you,
Yeah.
I think that they would be happy to share that, and that would be a way for them to kind of get it off their
Would be.
chest. And
It's not necessarily our best trait I would say,
No.
by the way, because I think it makes a lot of us probably shut down a lot more than what we should.
Yeah.
And I think and that is one thing I give a lot of kudos to, like millennials and Gen Z, is they are a lot more open and talkative with those things. And sometimes, yes, it can get to the point where it's kind of burdening someone and they didn't
Right.
ask for it. But I think, we're kind of that other extreme where, we kind of,
We're just going to not talk about it at all.
well, we learned from the best. That the whole silent generation, that
Yeah.
post World War II, that was, for the most part, was our grandparents. They didn't say anything, and they went through the Great Depression. They went through, World War II. They
Right.
went through all of this stuff, and then just didn't talk
about it.
And I think that man, we could have learned so much had we found out more of this stuff
Well,
earlier.
my
in
wife's
our
grandmother
lives.
is 99.
Yeah,
And so they have gone and they've taken a video camera and they've sat down, like all the females in the family
Yeah.
have gone up there and sat down and just had like a long just
That's
powwow to just tell stories and listen to this and that while they videotaped it so they could have some record of that.
That's cool.
So there's an idea, if you do have an older living relative, whether they think they are or not, they're a wealth of information. Some of it good,
yeah.
some of it bad, some of it what to do, some of it what not to do. But, have them tell their stories.
Yeah, it's lessons, and lessons aren't always, I didn't start that on time.
I didn't think you did.
We're at about 30, I think. Not all lessons are good. They can be helpful, but
Right.
you can also learn from a really bad lesson too.
Right.
So
I learned plenty from coaches that I had. I was like, all right, I think I'd like to be a coach one day, and I don't want to do that.
not do that. Yeah.
But I've
same.
also been like, that's a great idea. I'm gonna also do that. So, but have the conversations, because these things are going to happen if they haven't already. And again, we're not experts in this. We're not licensed in any of this. There's nothing for us to gain out of this other
No.
than it's our generation.
I think we just wanted to get a little bit real.
Yeah.
Because I think that's important too. Like
It's-
it's important to have a good time and to talk about
Yeah,
some of
it's
this.
not all fun and
stuff.
games, though,
But I think too,
as our parents told us.
and we've seen it here. There's been, there's been podcasts where like I'll be grabbing my phone and kind of messaging because life is still going on,
Right.
outside of all this stuff. And
Yeah.
I think for as much fun as we want to have and reminiscing that we want to do, I think it's always anytime somebody can get an opportunity, regardless of the platform, whether it's 68, 69, 68 subscribers. Or
Yeah, now what's up with that? Okay, I want to bring that up.
so 68 and a half subscribers. Can we officially go with that?
I don't know. Okay, we had 70,
We did.
and then we dropped to 68,
Then we went back to 69.
and then we went to 69,
Now we're back at 68.
and now we're back at 68. And I'm,
Just feedback would be good.
yeah. If you're thinking about unsubscribing, tell us why first.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
I mean,
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not going to make us stop.
nah.
I mean, we're this is number 26, so we've done 25. Now we're at 26. I mean,
We're going to figure out how to do this remotely, because in the next couple of years, we may not be in the same place very much. So, or we could
Never
be in the
know.
same place, just as
We
my brother would
could.
say, summers else.
we could be somewhere else, which is all a good thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know what the underlying message is here, other than just talk to people, talk in general. Yeah, especially talk to your parents, and then in turn talk to your kids,
Yeah.
especially if you're some of the older Xers and you're the one that's staring down 60. I mean, we're all going to get there.
well, but even you have adult
It's,
children,
yeah,
and you have grandchildren. So you have adult children that, might need to know something.
That's true, and it goes back to what I said earlier. Like my adult children know, they're like, hey, if it comes to a point where I am not safe where I'm at, going into a place that can help me is okay. It's good. Because I see them differently. Like I know there are places that, are not the kind of those 19th century, homes that they just
Dark
send people.
homes that you see in the movies.
The stuff you see there now, like these places where you go to find ghosts and stuff.
Right.
They're not sanitariums. Is that what they're called?
Oh.
The asylums.
Yeah.
What is it? Sometimes.
English is hard. Well,
sometimes I need to look words up before I start using
my aunt lives in one outside D.C.
Yeah.
Because that's where she's lived most of her life. Dude, it's a whole community. They're like little They're not. I wouldn't call them apartments.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like little condos. All over this huge complex, and they have grocery store. They have barbershops, beauty shops. They have all the little stores. They have. I think they've got like a 9-hole golf course. Like, I mean, it's the full deal. Now, I have no idea what that cost.
Right. That's another factor. I mean, you
have
can't
no
just
idea what that cost.
spit that out there and be like, oh.
But if you didn't want to leave the complex, you wouldn't have to, because they have the food and the
right.
And I don't need a barber, but you might sometime soon. Dang, what do you got going on there?
I'm working on it, man. It's
Okay. So
I'm due.
I was going to say something last episode, but I didn't even think of it. The opportunity didn't present itself.
Don't hate. All right, I got it.
Yeah, I can't.
I was just gonna say,
I can't grow that much. So.
Just leave me alone. No, I think it's good. It's good to talk. It's good to get this stuff and not, we don't want to become that silent generation that just kind of sits there and kind of just rolls into a really tough period of life, and we don't have people that can at least hear and I just hear us sometimes.
Right.
Sometimes
and there are
you just need to be
plenty
heard.
of people in the know about this kind of stuff. Whose actual job it is to help people with this. So, but I think
people that specialize in it.
Right,
I mean,
but I think the first thing that you should do is, and I realize not everybody has that great a relationship with their parents. And some parents may think, they're just in it for the money. They're just trying to.
Yeah.
But I think it's in how you approach it. If you approach it in a, like, look, we all know this is going to happen sometime. When that is, we don't know. But we need to have the conversation about, what do you want done? How do we go about this? Because I asked my mom, my dad had a stroke 13-ish years ago, and asked Mom at some point, what do you want us to do with the house when both of you are gone? And my mom goes, just sell it. Like, we don't have any attachment to this place. I'm like, dude, you lived here for like 50-something years. What do you mean you don't have an attachment to this place?
That's not the normal answer, I don't think. I think that
right.
most of that generation does have an attachment. It's like, it's my stuff.
Right.
It's my things.
But what she was saying is she knows that none of us want to live there.
Yeah.
So, she, because I thought, well, we could keep it and then, we could, rent or something like. She's like, no, that'd be just a hassle, and that's them not wanting to burden us.
Yeah, I think that's different. That I feel like that mentality came with the development of suburbs and neighborhoods, right? Which was what in the post-World War II is when the actual suburbs were developed and came into be. But prior to that, people were coming from like generational homesteads.
Right, farmhouses and stuff like that. So you just... You knew that I was going to grow up to do this, and this is where I'm going to live.
And it meant something because your livelihood came from that land.
Right.
More often than not, if you'd already been there a generation or two, your family was buried on that land.
Yeah, that's true.
and so I can see that it's something that is different. But when you're just buying a house, on a street in a neighborhood, I can see that that's a mentality shift. But I feel the same way. Like I'm not attached to the building that's the home. But
I am.
but we've moved,
Right.
so that's the difference, right? Is like we've got different homes that have different memories, but I don't have that. Well, this is a home I've got to keep for the next 50, until I die, kind of thing. But I feel like your situation is different.
Mine is very different.
This is, and again, you're back to there's land, there's a home that you put hands on to help build. That's different.
That I drew on a napkin.
Yeah. I signed a mortgage. You drafted out something on a napkin and made it a reality. That's looked at different. So I think that's a different conversation in my
Right.
opinion.
So now I just got to figure out which one of my kids is going to live here. And the thing is, what really sucks about that is not going to be able to get a whole lot out of it. For me.
Yeah. And you're like,
It's like,
won't be my problem.
right. But again, have those conversations. Okay. Again, we don't know the direction to point you, but I think it starts with having conversation. It starts with just talking, and then go from there. So there's plenty of people that have been through this and have a little knowledge. Some can tell you what they did. Nobody can tell you need to do this because it's your situation. It's going to be unique. But they can at least say, this is what I did. Or this situation came up and I wouldn't do this. So you can at least get some knowledge from them.
Yeah.
The more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are. So, I know it was a little deeper, heavier.
Still felt good.
It felt good to get
We
it out
have
there.
a serious side. We can bring it to the table.
Yep.
I think
We both have career jobs where
it's
you have to be
good.
serious part of the time. Part of the time. At least part of the time.
part of the time.
I mean, in teaching, I got to throw a little humor in there.
Same. There's lots of hard stuff that
Yeah.
we all face. And I think, I think getting it out there and just when you can clarify things, it prevents so much of the other negative stuff that comes around. Like when someone does finally pass away, and then you have family members that don't know, or if there's a complete question mark of what someone wanted, that's where you start to get these family feuds that in some cases can go on for years. And create where people just don't talk to each other anymore.
Right.
Um,
And then it's a big mess that doesn't get cleared up for years or ever, and
Sometimes
just
ever.
the lasting effects of people that are not here anymore, simply because nobody stepped up to have a conversation. So if you're an only child, it's got to be you. If you have siblings, you may want to step up because your siblings might not. So it's just one of those things where you just gotta have that conversation and start to figure out, what people want, so that you're not blindsided. Because
good.
I've seen people be blindsided, and it's just been a mess going through probate court and all that kind of. It's a mess, and then you've got the court trying to decide about your family stuff.
they don't know.
They don't know. They're just trying to get it off the docket. They're just
That's
trying
true.
to get on to the next one. So, take the steps so that you kind of have the say so in what happens to your family things, their situation. So again,
Your stuff.
we have no
Then a
legal
George Carlin
experience.
Topic stuff. It is.
Okay,
I'm surprised that you don't know that.
I'm a pretty big Carlin fan.
You are?
Yeah, I know all about the sports.
Stuff. So then you got to get stuff to get more stuff.
Oh yeah,
Gotta
okay,
get
okay,
something
yeah.
bigger to put all your stuff in.
Yeah. Okay,
Then you got vacation stuff.
right.
All right. Where do we go from here?
I don't know. I mean,
Is this
I guess
a Book of Answers episode?
I think every episode is a Book
All
of
right.
Answers episode.
All right.
We'll postpone our science experiment.
All right. Do you have a question?
I
'Cause
think I
don't.
do.
Okay.
I think I do.
Give it to me.
All right. I mean, I think we've kind of answered this. Logic would answer this, but we'll see what the book says.
All right.
Is it better to have uncomfortable conversations about things that matter?
Oof.
That's a deep question.
That can cover so much stuff. All right. I'm gonna go
Is
with
it
you.
better to have... I haven't taken that to my mom to get fixed yet.
All
but
right.
Is it better to have uncomfortable conversations about things that matter?
Get it in writing.
I think that's one of the best
That's a
answers we've got.
Really? As soon as I opened it up, I was like, oh my gosh.
I saw your face, so I was like, it's either really terrible or really good.
Get it in writing. That
Here,
is
show that.
That is the most.
I'll zoom in on that and hold it still for a second. Get it in writing.
Get it in writing.
Okay?
I mean, that we could not end on better advice than that, given the topic that we were talking about today.
I think that was divine intervention.
Amen.
The Book of Answers.
The Book of
Finally
Answers
gave
came
us-
through.
Finally
That's
gave us
so-
one. Golly. Some of those answers have
I
sucked
got
for so
chills
long.
opening that up, and I was like, it works.
You're going to need a minute.
Awesome.
All
Well,
right.
that was a good conversation.
It
a
was.
good episode, and
I wasn't sure how that was going to go, but I feel a lot better having had that conversation.
because we've talked about it the last couple times we've gotten together.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple times I've brought up, hey, I kind of keep referring to this as like our mission statement, but it's like, extended conversations about the survival techniques. Well,
This is definitely a
if you-
survival
If you
technique.
haven't picked up on one before, here's the first survival technique. Talk to somebody. Get it in writing. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be this overwhelming task that pops up.
And if
on
you
us.
have some, it doesn't have to be a paragraph, but if you have some little snippet of something that would help, that,
Yeah, we'll share it.
hey, do this. If it's something that you want us to, kind of take and run with, put something in there and point us in the right direction, and we'll be happy to.
Because we're a community. This is the Rated Gen X community.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
everyone
All
is
68
welcome.
of us.
All 68 of us.
We're still trying to get to 100 by, 1st of November.
All right.
So
So let somebody know about us.
tell somebody about us.
Create a separate email.
Yeah.
Subscribe again.
Right.
Y'all got more than one.
Yeah, you got a work
We know.
email. You got
We
a
know
personal
you
email.
do. We know you do.
You got your email from back when you first had AOL, dial-up.
Did you hear the news this week? They are
They-
doing away with dial-up.
AOL is doing away with their dial-up internet service.
I want to know who that person
I want to
is.
know who's still on that.
Because I guarantee they still have a Blockbuster card, too. They have to.
Oh, yeah. I saw this. That reminded me of something. Somebody, it was some meme or something, and some guy said, I went to go to the liquor store to, buy something, and I was trying to find my ID, and my Blockbuster card fell out, and the lady behind the counter said, never mind, you're good.
That would work. It would work.
So,
That's awesome.
anyway, all right. Well,
Cool.
that was a good show. That was definitely one of our more. That's probably about our only serious show we've had so far.
I think so. So
Now
I
we
can't-
will have more. We've talked about things that we want to talk. He and I have talked about things that we want to discuss that are more serious, but this just happened to be the first one. I think because we had those three that we talked about at the beginning, and then I've had stuff in my extended family, and then your dad was a few years ago, and then my
Yeah.
dad's been in the hospital. So it's staring us in the face.
Yeah.
So sooner rather than later is probably the best advice I can give you.
I think that's a good advice to end on.
All right.
We'll see y'all next time.
See you next time. Thanks.
Later.
Like, subscribe, share.